Hey guys, just been speaking to a friend in Australia who's been going through some bullshit with the phone and internet company in Australia. So those Aussies watching this video will know about Telstra. Telstra are notorious for treating their customers with extreme disrespect and arrogance, and this person was telling me about what they'd been going through with Telstra, and it was all the typical stuff. They'd basically replaced some lines in the street, and the result was that none of the people that lived in the street had internet for the last 2 weeks, and they sort of made endless phone calls and did everything that they could to get it fixed, and they just got jerked around basically. And you guys know the sort of thing. So I just want to talk first of all about what that experience is like, and then we'll try and explore different ways that we can deal with it. But you know the sort of story where, you know, you call up to the service department and they treat you with that bullshit. I call it Google speak, because it's that really insincere cut and paste type conversation that you get from these assholes. Usually when I deal with big companies, usually it's by email, because I like to have a bit of a record of everything that goes on. But you know, whether it's on the phone or whether it's on the by email, it's the same thing. It's that cut and paste style conversation that you get. Thank you for reaching out. In the last year or two, reaching out has become the catchphrase, instead of thank you for contacting us, or thank you for calling, or thank you for emailing us. It's thank you for reaching out, which just strikes me as total bullshit. I never let them get away with that. I always respond with, I didn't reach out, I sent you an email. If I reached out, I'd slap you in the ear. Reach out, fucking reach out, you assholes. But you know, that sort of stuff. You just know that the person at the other end is just giving you a series of cut and paste answers to what you're saying, and you get that distinct feeling that they don't really give a shit. All they're really doing is covering their own ass. So if it's a telephone, they know that there's a chance that their boss could listen to it later. So all they're giving you is all the cut and paste answers that they've been told to give you, and nothing more. And you just know they're not trying to actually solve the problem. And in this story that I was getting from this lady is that, you know, she'd had 8-9 phone calls with these turkeys over the last 2 weeks, and they use those phrases like, another recent phrase that's become popular, we'll escalate your issue, we'll escalate it. Well, what does that mean? Does that mean that the first 3 people that you spoke to were a total waste of time? Wouldn't you think that if they had a service department that was designed to solve problems, that a problem wouldn't need to get escalated? In your very first phone call, shouldn't you be talking to somebody who can actually help you? You know, isn't it ridiculous that they let you go through 2 or 3 phone calls or 2 or 3 emails and then tell you that they're going to escalate your issue? Well, why didn't you escalate it at the first phone call or the first email? What does that mean? That the first 3 emails or the first 3 phone calls are a waste of time? You know, and it's classic of these big companies. Usually small companies, you don't have this problem, because small companies value their customers more. Usually, not always the case, but usually small companies value their customers, and that individual customers are important to them. And usually in a small company too, the person who answers the phone can turn around to the service technician, you know, because he's just sitting over there, and work it out between them. Whereas these big companies, like these big phone companies, you know, using these call centers, and nobody cares. Nobody really cares about the individual customers. It's all about the guys at the top that run these big corporations that are earning millions of dollars a year. They only care about the bottom line numbers, and we'll come back to that in a minute. They're not really interested in the customers. They look at the numbers, so they know, like a big company like Australia's Telstra, or you know, any of these companies, Microsoft or Google or any of these companies, they know that they lose a certain percentage of customers every year. And they just accept that a certain number of people every year are going to be pissed off with them and leave because they're unhappy customers. And they just accept that, and that's just a number, you know. And for a big company like Google, you know, if you're talking about Google AdSense or something, that those people who spend money advertising on Google are actually Google's paying customers, and Google will just accept that they lose 1 million of them a year. You know, as long as we can keep the number under 1 million, we're doing okay. That'll be their attitude. It's just a number. So, oh, well, we had 1 million unhappy customers last year, so as long as we can keep it under 1 million, it's okay. Because they focus on bringing in 3 million new customers a year, or 10 million new customers a year, or 20 million new customers a year, depending on who we're talking about. It's the same as Microsoft and everybody else. It's just a numbers thing for them. You know, this bullshit that Microsoft are doing at the moment with the upgrade to Windows 10. Quick, it's your last chance. Schedule your upgrade, you know, it's your last chance to get it for free and all that lying bullshit, basically. They're fucking lying to us, because I've been getting pop-ups for months telling me that it's my last chance to get Google 10, to get Windows 10 free. I've been getting that for, well, not months, weeks and weeks. Here's your last chance to get Windows 10 for free. And I just fucking close the window. You know, I don't click their schedule late or anything button. I don't play that silly game. I click the big red X and just close it. And a week later it pops up again. So that's all. They're lying to you, basically. And those people like me who won't accept that being lied to thing, and we're just a number to them. They just go, oh, there's one more person who doesn't care. You know, they don't give a shit about the individuals. And so that's the people at the top. And then the people in the call centres and that sort of thing, they don't give a shit either. They're not there to try and solve our problems. They're there just to maintain their job and try and get a higher job up the ladder. And that's based on how many customers they talk to in an hour, you know, how well they keep to the script. And that's the deal with those call centre people. That's why they talk like robots, is they're given a script, what they're allowed to say, what they're not allowed to say. They have these cut and paste answers that they use, and it's the same as the emails. You can see the emails are literally cut and paste. They just have these standard answer 5, answer 7. I'll give this guy a 12. And a lot of the time, they don't even look at what you've written. They just sort of scan it, get a bit of an idea, and then send you the answers. And that's why the answers they give you are often not on the topic. Nothing to do with what you actually said, because they've seen a couple of words in your first sentence, assume they know what your problem is, and sent you a couple of cut and paste answers. Well, no, that's not what I said. I said this. And obviously haven't even read your email. So, you know, you guys know what I'm talking about. You'd all would have experienced this before, you know, and that feeling that they just don't give a shit, treat you like shit, they don't care. You know, if you search Google sucks, or Microsoft sucks, or I search Telstra sucks, and you just get, you know, tons of answers, and they just accept that as being just part of the numbers. You know, a small business would be terrified to have, you know, so many unhappy customers, but the big companies don't give a shit because it's all the numbers. So it comes back to then what we can do about it, and I don't know, I get the feeling that with a lot of these companies, you know, their complaints department, or, you know, contact us and tell us what you think, or their feedback, you know, Google and their feedback button, total waste of time. You know, they're just giving you the feedback button because they figure that if they give you a feedback button, click the feedback button and tell us about your experience at Google, and you sit there and you write your thing, and they know they'd prefer you did that than complain somewhere on a website or complain somewhere publicly in a forum. So they give you the feedback button just to give you something to do, you know, like giving a dog a rubber toy to chew on or something, you know, just to keep you entertained. And they don't really give a shit, obviously. I mean, we've got lots of examples of Google with that over the years, you know, when they first bought YouTube and wanted to do things to it, and all the users were saying please don't, and they actually had tell us what you think forums on different topics. And, you know, I can't remember what it was it when they changed some format, and so many million people all said please don't do it on Google's own forum about the topic. And there was an amazing number. It was 2.5 million people or something all said please don't do it, and they did it anyway. They'd only given us that forum just to give us something to do, give us something to chew on. Here's a rubber bone to chew on while we go and do this anyway, you know. So they don't really give a shit. So I've come to the conclusion that occasionally, if you think calling them or emailing them is actually going to make any difference at all, then you can do it. or maybe do it, and then if you get a result, that's good, and if you don't get a result, you know. But my feeling recently has been, the way I've been trying to get back at these guys is just by using the alternatives. You know, I mean, I've had a gutful of Microsoft. They've become so, they lie to us, basically. They've become, they've always been manipulative. They've always been very good at manipulating people, but I think they've got worse at it. They're doing it more, and they're lying to us. They're lying to people, and they're tricking people and deceiving people. You know, this whole Windows 10 campaign is terribly deceitful. They're straight out fucking lying to us about the Windows 10 thing, and tricking people into it, giving you two buttons: upgrade to Windows 10 now, or upgrade to Windows 10 later. Those two buttons. Take your pick. Well, there's a third option, guys. It's that little red close window at the top. That's what I use, because if you click upgrade now or upgrade later, you know what's going to happen. Suddenly you're going to log on one day and you're going to have Windows 10 on your computer. You know, they're scheming, manipulative arseholes, Microsoft. So what I've been doing is, every opportunity I get, I use non-Microsoft products, you know. I've got a alternative to Windows, Word, and it's open, what's it called, open something, and it's brilliant. It works exactly like Windows, exactly like Word. It allows you to open Word documents, it allows you to make Word documents, it works exactly like it, but it's an open source free software thing, you know. And every chance I get, another one was on our websites, on the Japan channel website and on the English Friendly website, we used to have Google AdSense on there, which meant that when people click the ads, that we'd get some money, but Google would get some money too. And then when we got sick of Google and the way they were treating us on YouTube, we pulled the Google ads off our websites, and we put banners on there from affiliates. So basically you have a relationship directly with the company, which means that not only do you get the benefit of cutting Google out, but you're getting to choose who's actually advertising on your website, and that means that you can choose companies that are good, basically. So for example, on our website we've got Japanese Pod 101, which is a really reputable company. We've been sending them customers for years and never had a complaint. And when we've contacted them, they contact us straight back. So basically, we're offering good companies to our users, to the people using our websites, but also cut Google out, which is a really rewarding feeling, you know, which I think, and this is the way we need to deal with these turkeys. So in Australia, every time there's an alternative to Telstra, you know, we should use the alternative. Obviously it needs to be a good alternative, or, you know, that'd be a silly mistake to use something that wasn't good, but you know, if there's a good alternative, you know, for your phones or for your internet or for whatever. So for us, every chance we get to not use Google, we cut Google out. We cut Google out every chance we get, you know, and Microsoft's the same, and all these turkeys are the same, because if we all do this, then eventually those numbers do show up on the desks of the guys at the top, and it does show up, and then they do start to look at things like feedback, because they say, wait a minute, you know, normally we lose 1 million unhappy customers a year, and this year we lost 1.5 million unhappy customers. Why is that? Because the numbers do show up. If you know, lots of us have that attitude that if we don't like the way we're being treated, because the worst thing that we can possibly do, and this is what a lot of people do, this is the example in Australia with Telstra, people whinge and whine and complain about Telstra all the time, and then keep using them. You know, that's that phone internet company, for you guys who aren't from Oz, you know, and so they complain and whinge about them and then keep using them. Microsoft's the same. Microsoft's been manipulative assholes, you know, and then they give them money. They pay Microsoft money for their software, you know. Well, don't fucking pay. If they're assholes and they're treating you like shit, don't give them money if you can avoid it. I mean, if sometimes it's hard to avoid, like Microsoft, you know, it's hard to avoid giving them some money at some stage, but it's limited to as little as possible. And Google's the same. I mean, as it is, we've got a lot lot of time and effort invested into YouTube, and it still is probably the best platform for videos. Having said that, we are on Daily Motion as well, guys, just, you know, to give YouTube and Google a bit of a poke in the eye, but you know, we sort of stuck on YouTube really, but we don't have to use the other Google products. You know, any Google product where we've got an alternative, we use the alternative. You know, and we don't pay the arseholes any money, bloody Google ads or any of that bullshit. Not doing any of that, not paying them any money. So I think that's the only thing we can do, guys, and we do that, and so that is a double benefit. That one benefit is that if lots of us do it, and lots of people do this, I'm not the only person that does this, you know, lots of people do this, that, you know, if a company treats you like shit, you know, avoid paying them money as much as possible, and it works, because lots of us do it, and it works, and it shows up in their bottom line, and then they start looking at their feedback and say, why is it that we've got 1.5 million unhappy customers instead of just 1 million? And they go, oh, look at this, we keep getting this feedback about our customer service or about our, you know, and they'll know, Microsoft will know. There's been a lot of unhappy people about that Windows 10 campaign, and they'll know. They'll get back. They'll be sitting around a boardroom somewhere going, oh, we're a bit too aggressive with the Windows 10 campaign. We'll have to turn it down a little bit, you know, for the Windows 11 campaign, won't we? Because the Windows 10 campaign was a bit too aggressive. They didn't like it. They notice when the reactions are in mass, you know. The other thing is, it does give you a really good a feeling of satisfaction, because there's nothing worse than having a company that treats you like shit and rewarding them by giving them money for it, right? So it is a really good feeling, you know, when we changed our ads on our websites from Google ads to our own affiliate ads. That was a really good feeling. It's like, fuck you, Google, you know, and it makes us a little bit more independent of them again, you know. And it's the same as with Microsoft, you know, getting that open. I'll put a link underneath this video for that software if you want something that you can use as an alternative to Windows, to Word, and it will open Word documents, and it will make Word documents, and it'll do everything that Word can do, but you're not giving money to Microsoft, and it's free. So I'll put a link underneath this video to that, so a couple of you guys can, if you want to pay Microsoft a little bit less money, you know. And these are companies too, you know. There's no doubt, you always get some nerd who doesn't pay attention to what is actually said and gets all emotional and defends Google and defends Microsoft. Oh, if you don't like it, you shouldn't use it, and they do really good stuff, and Google's great and Microsoft's great. You always get a couple of nerds who go on like that, get all emotional about it. You know, like as if Microsoft are going to give a shit about this little video that I've made, or as if Google are going to have their feelings hurt or something, you know. It's not the point. Yes, it's true, Google makes some good products, so do Microsoft, and all the other big companies they all make some good products. That's why they're big companies. That's not the point. The point is that what happens with these guys is that there's a certain amount of arrogance that comes as a result of the fact that they've made some good products and they've got a lot of customers, and that's when they start to treat us like shit. And if you just accept, like a lot of those sheep do, and you can see they're the sheep that leave those comments, is that they're just prepared to take it. You know, oh yeah, Microsoft, oh, you know, they just tell us. They're the ones that Microsoft are manipulating. They're the clowns that when it pops up and says get Windows 10 now for free, they're the clowns that click the button. And then 2 months later, when they're having big problems because, you know, Windows 10 hadn't actually had its bugs ironed out yet, you know, that's the other reason we never use any new Microsoft products, because you know they give it to us before they finish fixing it. And you know that, you know, if you get it when they first release it, that you're going to have problems, because there's all the bugs they haven't solved yet, all the fixes that they haven't made yet, you know. But the blind people will just go, oh yeah, okay, I better upgrade it now because it's free now, and they'll click the button. And they're the people that Microsoft and Google and all these other clowns, they're the people that these big companies are aiming at, because they're the people that are easiest to manipulate. And they'd have numbers on this, for sure. Microsoft and Google and all these guys would sit around boardroom tables and go, well, we know if we do this campaign, you know, 1 million customers are going to feel manipulated and get pissed off, and tell us to fuck off, and 30 million people are going to click the button and upgrade to Windows 10. So we'll do that, or 100 million, 200 million. Windows 10. How many people are going to have Windows 10? 500 million. Who knows? They'd know, and that's the way they do it. Oh, okay, well, 500 people will click the button, 10 million people will tell us to fuck off. They know. So, anyway, that's my strategy, guys. Pay the arseholes as little as possible. Give them the finger. Give the big companies the finger. More videos coming soon.